Hello aspirants, welcome to another session of the daily newspaper analysis. This video is brought to you by the Gurudev Academy. My name is Ashwin. Firstly, we will look at the questions that were given in the yesterday's video. Firstly, who is the head of the committee on MSP and natural farming? See, this committee has been formed recently, and the representatives have to come from the farmer organizations as well. And from the government side, they have asked Sanjay Agarwal to head this committee. Fine, MSP and natural farming. We will look at. In today's newspaper, there has been an article where the farmer organization are opposing the formation of this committee, and so we will look ahead. If some issues happen, we will follow it up in the coming days. So nextly, the Mahastupa in Sannati was developed by which dynasty? It is all of the above. This was again in the yesterday's newspaper front page. This site is in Karnataka, and it has been recently in news. Please look at the yesterday's article. They have mentioned how much of the development is being done, how much of the protection, and how the protection is being done by the state government here. Thirdly, Russia recently asked Indian oil importing companies to make payments in which of the currencies. So this was again from the yesterday's newspaper business section. So Russia has asked Indian companies who are importing oil to make the payment in dirhams. Why? Because Russia right now is under sanctions. Even if it accepts the US dollars, it cannot spend US dollars because it is under heavy economic sanctions due to the ongoing war that is going on in Russia and Ukraine. Moving on. So the first editorial, we will look at a few editorials today and also the explained section. The first editorial that we are doing is the new legislation that mirrors the old. So this is about the new draft drug and cosmetic bill that is going to come up. It is going to replace the Drug and Cosmetic Act of 1940. So we'll just look at the old provisions, what it was. So previously, the guiding theory of the law. The theory of the law was that the test manufactured drugs, the drug inspectors used to test the manufactured drugs purchased from the open market. So they used to just test it, and the fate of that drug was completely on the drug inspector. If it passed the test, then it was available in the market. Otherwise, it was not approved by the drug control body of the government. So this was the law. But what happened in 1988? In 1988, under the executive rules, the government adopted something called as GMP, that is good manufacturing practices. That is the testing. That is the manufacturing was more accurate and was more compliant with the laws or with the international practices. Here we have it is mentioned in the article that compliance of the manufacturing units with the GMPs, that is your global manufacturing practices, was compulsory. Then when we look at the case of US and India, later on what happened is the US, whenever there was a new drug that was being tested, the test reports, the test results were made public. There was public hearing in about the new drug. There was so much of involvement of citizens. But India throughout the years, what it has done is it has completely ignored GMP. It has completely ignored the good manufacturing practices and the new bill as well. The new bill that is going to replace this old bill is not including this GMPs in its text. Then moving on, see, we also have one more issue with the drug enforcement, that is the enforcement of drug law in the country. It is uneven because unlike in US, US has one central authority which regulates all the drugs that are available in the market, whereas here in India, what is happening is there are multiple agencies. There are 37 agencies. These 37 agencies, we mean that each agency in every state, in every union territory, there are multiple agencies, and on top of it, there is a central drug standard control organization. There is also Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which is involved in rules, regulation and banning of the drugs. Whereas this Central Drug Standard Control Organization, when we look at the functionings, what are the functions here? It regulates the import as well as it has the decision making power on the clinical evidences of new drugs. See, when there is multiple authority here, there is a problem. There is a problem for the manufacturing sector here, because the article here mentions the example of Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh here is the leading producer of the drugs in India because of the tax holidays that are given by the government there. But when we have multiple authorities, what may happen is the compliance becomes very tough for these domestic industries, and the production, this affects the overall production in the market. It also affects the overall governmental sector, because see, India is the third largest importer of pharmaceuticals, and India has the problem of bulk drug. Okay, bulk drug are the basic ingredients that are used to make a medicine. So when India is such a huge market, and it is exerting the pressure on our import bill as well. Fine. So these are the issues that have been mentioned. The Masalkar committee, okay, the Masalkar committee in 2008 had recommended to the government that there has to be one central drug licensing agency with only one central regulatory. Fine. This is one of the recommendation. Again, this recommendation is not incorporated in the new drug law that is coming up. Again, there are some of the solutions that have been given here. Okay, this was one of the solutions that can be adopted by the government. Another solution that is very important is of the citizens. See, citizens have to be guaranteed a proactive disclosure of the regulatory decisions, like we saw in the case of US. Whenever a new drug is tested, the drug reports, the test results. Okay, why do we need that new drug? Okay, so all these are published, and the citizens can look into it, and citizens have a proactive role there in enforcing some drug law. Fine. And what can be what kind of disclosure is the editor asking here to do? The editor is asking us for the disclosure of regulatory, should disclose clinical trial data. There has to be a disclosure of test reports of the new drug that has been tested in the government labs, and also whether the drug manufacturer is GMP compliant, whether he is good manufacturing practices compliant. Okay, these are the disclosures. Then the editor is asking the drug testing agencies to be done. See, the modern regulatory system, okay, the modern drug regulatory system, it delegates a lot of power to these unelected bureaucrats. Okay, unelected bureaucrats, here we mean that the executive, okay, the executive wing has been given power here for not only approval of new drugs, but also approval of new manufacturing units. Fine. These have a large implications on the public health as well as the profit of these industries. See, this delegation that has been done, okay, by the government here, it is good in case of transparency. Delegation is very good. In every department there has to be delegation of powers because it increases the transparency. But when we look at accountability, it is not good. Here the article says that because of the lack of accountability, it is causing what? Democratic deficit. Fine, it is causing a lot of democratic deficit. So at the end of the article, the editor gives some solutions like citizen participation. We have already told, okay, citizen participation in what way? Like citizen participation in public hearing. Okay, the citizen can participate in this debate. Okay, whether the new drug is really needed and all. Fine. So citizen participation. Secondly, legal pathways. Okay, that is public hearing, citizen petitions. Okay, these are some of the solutions that has been given in the article. Since the monsoon session is on, we are expecting a new bill on this drug and cosmetic act, the amendment maybe. So we will just look at if there is some development on this, we will look ahead in the coming days. Moving ahead, so this is again editorial that has come in the editorial page. That is the tunnel vision that is endangering Indian history. So again, this is another new law that is going to come up related to your archaeological sites and archaeological monuments. See, budget session is monsoon session is on, so there will be a lot of bills that will be passed. There will be a lot of discussions that will be happening. If you're finding any of these bills tough to read, there is one website that you can follow here. That is your PRS India. Okay, the PRS India is a very good site where they give the detailed explanation of all the important bills that are going to be passed. So please keep following. If possible, I know you all have a busy schedule, but if possible, just look at the proceedings. Okay, just look at how the parliament session takes place. It gives a overall idea to you. It gives a general idea about how things run in parliament. Okay, so it will be easy for you to understand the parliamentary structure, the articles in the constitution related to parliament. They will help you to increase the level of your understanding. Fine. So coming to this article here, the editorial, what it talks about. Firstly, it talks about the original section that is there. Okay, the original section 20 of the Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958, it prescribes that around these archaeological sites, 100 meters, okay, 100 meters along this, any construction activity is prohibited, and 300 meters it is regulated. Fine. So around 100 meters there is complete prohibition of any constructional activities or infrastructural activities, and around 300 meters it is regulated. So what are the significance of these sites? Okay, when we look at the significance of these sites, these are integrally connected to the landscapes, like physically. The writer here gives few examples. When we look at physically, see these Barabara hills to Ajanta, okay, whatever the caves are there, they are physically connected to the canyons, okay, the nearby canyons. They give the physical significance to these nearby canyons and water bodies. Secondly, symbolically. Okay, symbolically, when we look at this, they have given the significance of Mallaprabha river. Okay, the significance of Mallaprabha river here is increasing because of the nearby Pattatkal temple. Fine. And also economically here the editor, okay, he gives the example of Lucknow Imambaras. Okay, these Lucknow Imambaras were a place where daily market used to take place. A lot of economic activity used to take place. So these archaeological sites here have a lot of significance physically, symbolically, as well as economically. Then what happened post 1857? Okay, post 1857, the British reorganized these cities. Okay, the British started reorganize the cities to build larger roads. Okay, to have a proper estimation of the total population and also for the easy mobility. The British started reorganizing this city. So what happened is British reorganized according to their comfort and according to their outlook. Like some of these monuments were placed in a nice grass banks. Okay, some of the other monuments were destroyed and a road were made through it. Okay, so what happened over the time is these ancient and medieval monuments what were there, they were reorganized by the British. Okay, and right now whatever the sites we see, archaeological sites, they have been reorganized by the British. That is what the editor is trying to say. Then these also serve diverse needs. Okay, and also like the green edges around these sites. By diverse sites we mean that post independence, what happened is when refugees, okay, we are taking here, the editor has taken the example of Delhi. Okay, post independence, what happened when there was a large influx of refugees in Delhi. These archaeological sites were transformed as campsites. Okay, they were transformed as campsites and refugees started living here. As the refugees started living here, what happened is these places were transformed into parks. Okay, jogging parks, exercises and all used to take place. Then due to the increase of influx of population in the cities and around these archaeological sites, what started happening is the green edge. Okay, the green edge around the city, it started to decrease and the edges were restricted only to these archaeological sites. Okay, so many of the wild birds and some of the wildlife habitats, they started residing around these archaeological sites. Fine, these are the two main things that happened post 1857. Now looking ahead, see what is the result of endangering these zones. Okay, what is the result of endangering these zones? Firstly, if the rezoning happens, okay, if the rezoning happens, there is a fear that the rezoning will happen because of the nature of the change in the bill. Okay, we have seen the old bill, it is protecting the site from 100 to 300 meters, the bill is going to protect, but the sites are being protected, sorry, but the new bill is proposing that this regulations will be diluted. The committee will look ahead if such projects have to be approved or no. Okay, so the rezoning will be happening. Then what will happen? Firstly, deprive human animal communities, as we seen in the previous slide, that the green edges that were formed around these archaeological sites will be destroyed. Secondly, weakens foundation of these archaeological monuments. See, we have to keep in mind whenever we are doing some infrastructural work around these monuments is that these monuments are very old. Some of them are ancient. Okay, some of them have been from the time of Harappan times. Okay, so when you take construction activities, the foundations may be weak and these ancient monuments may collapse and we may lose some important information about our history. Secondly, inadvertent damages, like for example, the writer has said that the cement bags, okay, they may take off the color of the monument. Okay, some of the other things inadvertent, okay, the indirect damages may happen. Secondly, already threatened by anthropogenic forces. See, we all know what happens, what we see in these ancient monuments, what the human contact does us. See, when these ancient monuments are present, we should not even touch them, because once we touch them, the original text that were written on them are lost. But the names are written, some time of epigraphies, the humans are do some of these epigraphies on these monuments. They are already destroyed by anthropogenic forces, and now when the construction takes place, they are going to be destroyed more. Secondly, example of air and water pollution, Taj Mahal. Okay, again, if similar, okay, if we take the example of Taj Mahal, okay, in and around Taj Mahal, a large the Taj Mahal has the color of the Taj Mahal, okay, it is turning into gray because of the air and water pollution that is surrounding this site. Why? Again, constructional activities. Okay, so this is another reason why endangering the zone will harm the original site. Fourthly, artifacts may be buried, broken, contexts may be destroyed. Again, here again, see, archaeological work, the work of archaeological is mainly digging. Fine. So if there is some site around these monuments that are going to be used for laying foundations, or there is some kind of digging without a proper archaeological tools, then the original site, okay, the original buildings that were present at those sites may be lost. Okay, this is another one. Lastly, government has built infrastructure without proper archaeological assessment. Okay, archaeological impact assessment. See, yesterday we saw what is environment impact assessments. Whenever some land is, the forest land is being diverted for non-forest use, firstly environment impact assessment is done. We have to see whether how much of such kind of projects are going to damage the infrastructure, sorry, the ecology over there, as well as the livelihood of the tribals and the forest dwellers. Fine. So these are the points that have to be taken care of here. Again, these are the reasons here why such bill is going to destroy the archaeological sites. This is from the Hindu Explained section. This has come from this is from the Delhi edition that we are looking at. So this has explained the outrage over the new national emblem. We have already looked at what the issue is. We'll just look at few points here. Okay. Again, it is much of a political issue. It is again the statement given out by the parties and political parties as well as the ruling party does not matter to you, because it is all about the perception. When we look at these emblem and when we look at the old emblem, the controversy here has been that the old emblem was calm, okay, and the new emblem it shows kind of a rage. So it is all about the perception, how we look at it. So there is not much you should dwell into the statement given by the political parties. We'll just look at few of the main points. Okay, there are few points important for your prelims perspective. Those are the points we'll look at. Firstly, see the original the present. Okay, so the present this national emblem, the sculpture, it has been designed by Sunil Diore and Romel Moses. Okay, Sunil Diore and Romel Moses are the two persons who have designed this present new national emblem that is going to be placed on the new parliamentary building that is coming up. Okay, and also so when we look at the history, what is the history behind this national emblem? See, this national emblem was firstly this national emblem here, it was taken from the Sarnath land capital. Okay, Sarnath land capital was placed in 250 BC. Okay, it was to commemorate the first sermon that was given out by Gautam Buddha. Here he propagated his idea of 4 noble truths. Okay, so this national emblem, it composes of 4 animals, that is horse, lion, bull and elephant, which are in clockwise direction. Okay, please, very important, clockwise direction. Okay, clockwise direction, and they face in every direction, that is north, south, east, west. And also here they are separated by Dharma Chakra. Okay, this Dharma Chakra has 24 spokes. Okay, 24 spokes, and later on this Dharma Chakra was adopted as our Ashoka Chakra. Fine. This is the overall history behind the national emblem. Why did the Constitution Constituent Assembly embrace the Sarnath pillar as the national emblem? Because they felt that this Sarnath pillar it showed it showed power, courage, confidence of the free nation. Okay, and it was designed by the students of Nandalal Bose. The main artist here was your Dinanath Bhargav. Fine. So what is the controversy behind the latest replica? Again, okay, the controversy is not important for you all. The controversy, as I mentioned earlier, is over the fact that these lions are more aggressive in the way they look. So this is the overall crux of this article. Not much. Just you have to remember few important points. That is, what is the significance of this emblem? When was it adopted? What are the things that we have not adopted from the Ashoka Chakra? Okay, so the Ashokan emblem that we have and the national emblem, there is one main difference. That is, the Ashokan emblem has a lotus base. Okay, it has a lotus base on which the whole emblem is placed. But when we adopted our national emblem, it did not allow the lotus base. Okay, we just have adopted from the so when we look at the Ashokan emblem, it has a lotus base. Then this Dharma Chakra is there where the animals are present, and then we have the this national emblem. But in our present national emblem, we have just adopted this Dharma Chakra, and on top of that we have the 4 lions. Okay, so this is the difference you have to remember, and also remember the 4 animals, the Dharma Chakra, as well as the from the date. Okay, so the year on which it was placed. Okay, so these are the things you have to remember. Moving on, so there has been a report that has been placed in the parliament that says that over 1.6 lakh Indians gave up citizen last year. Okay, over 1,06,000 Indian citizens gave up last year. This was one of the statements that were given. So we'll just look at the articles. Okay, we'll just look at the constitutional articles which deal with citizenship. Firstly, the part 2 of the constitution, it deals with the citizenship. Okay, citizenship laws. Article 5 to 11 deals with the citizenship. Okay, citizenship, what is the citizenship, what are the processes of acquiring citizenship, these are all mentioned in the article 5 to 11. Then we will, since this article is talking about the gave up the citizenship last year, we will look at the ways of acquiring a citizenship and way to renounce a citizenship. Fine. Firstly, you can acquire a citizenship by descent. Okay, your descent, then registration at birth, naturalization. So naturalization, initially a person had to reside 11 years, and now under the new Citizenship Act, okay, it is 6 years. Okay, 6 years. And then incorporation of a territory. If India, okay, has an international agreement with any state, or if any international agreement with any country, and that country decides to give up its territory to India, then the residents of that territory becomes the citizens of India. Fine. We have this agreement, okay, Re-Beruberi, as well as recently a few years back, India and Bangladesh had signed this agreement. Okay, where they exchange few islands between them. Okay, so when such agreement takes place, what happens is the citizens of those territory become our citizens. Fine. Then when we look at ways to renounce here means give up. Okay, or give up or cancellation. So when we look at what are the ways, first is voluntary renunciation. Fine. Voluntary renunciation here means that if a person decides that he wants to give up the citizenship, then he can give up the citizenship. One point you have to note here under voluntary renunciation is that if that person, okay, has a child, and what happens is when that person gives up the citizenship, the child also loses the citizenship. But the child, after 18 years, he can claim that he wants to be an Indian citizen, and then the citizenship can be given to that child. Fine. Then termination. Termination happens when a citizen, okay, when a citizen takes when a person, okay, consider a person is taking the citizenship of another country. In India, it is not allowed to have dual citizenship. Fine. So if a person decides to take up citizenship of another country, naturally and automatically his citizenship will be terminated in India. Thirdly, okay, deprivation happens when some person has acted, okay, some person has acted against the constitution, he has insulted the constitution, or some serious offense he has committed. Okay, then the government can decide to deprive his citizenship. Fine. So this is the main points that you have to look at when we look at this article. Okay, so that's it from today's editorial. That's it from today's analysis. So you can follow us on these social media handles. You can follow us on YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, on Facebook. Please write the answers that are there at the end of this video. Thank you.